Hello everyone and welcome to the first episode of this new series on chess puzzles for you to solve and improve your chess. Because everyone or most people want to improve their chess as fast as they can, and solving problems and working on your tactics by solving tactical problems is one of the quickest ways to improve. Let's begin here with this first problem. In this position, it is white's turn to move. And of course, we see here that white is behind in material. Black has a queen compared to white's knight. So what can white do in this position well, first of all, what is his best move? See if you can figure that out. What move you think is best for white, and how can he avoid a loss in this position because he's behind in material. So what is his best option here? All right, think about that. Pause the video if you need to. If not, let's take a look here and see what white can do in this position. So he's behind in material. He can't win, but he can hold a draw in this position. So hopefully you have seen that, and the evaluation shows even here. And hopefully you saw this move, bishop to c2, which forks the queen and the king here. And so if the queen captures to avoid being captured herself, well, then we have knight to e3, threatening another fork with the king and the queen. And so if the bishop captures here, then we have a stalemate as the queen is cutting off white's escape to g2 or h2, and the bishop cuts off this g1 square. And then of course, after knight to e3, if in this position the king had moved, say to here, and we had a capture, well then it would just be even in material, and neither side would have enough material to win, of course. So hopefully you found that problem. Let's move on to chess puzzle number 2 here. Let me turn off the evaluation and lines and take a look at this second problem with white to move once again. So in this position, what do you think is the best move for white to play here? So take a look at everything. Material wise, we see that let's see, they both are even with queens and rooks and bishops, but then pawn wise we have 6 pawns for black and only 4 for white. So black is ahead in material, but it's white's turn to move. So what is the best move here for white? All right, once again, pause the video if you need more time. If not, let's take a look. All right, the evaluation says that white has a mate in 2. So hopefully you found this mate in 2 for white. All right, so let's take a look here. The quickest way to mate using this mate in 2 opportunity is queen to f8, sacrificing the queen. So now rook takes f8 is forced, and then rook takes f8 for mate here. So hopefully you found that. And this is an interesting little tactical motif, I guess you can call it, a little pattern that can come up quite often. Anytime the G pawn is pushed forward and dark square weaknesses appear around the black king like this, often if you can get a bishop in here to take advantage of these dark squares and then use a rook with the bishop, you may have a checkmating pattern and opportunity to win like this. All right, hopefully you found that, and let's move on to the third example here. All right. So in this position, it will be black to move. So let's flip the board around. You can take a look at it and try and solve it from this perspective if you would like. Just pause the video. Otherwise, I'll flip the board here to black's perspective, and it's black to move here. So what can black do? What is his best option? And we see that material is even. White has a knight for black's 3 extra pawns. So material-wise, things are even. But how does white gain, or excuse me, how does black gain the upper hand on white here in this position? All right, pause if you need more time. If not, let's take a look. So black is winning in this position, and it looks like rook capturing the knight is the best move here. Because, well, first of all, if there's a recapture, well, then the best move would be queen captures with check, and then after the king would move, let's see, looks like king to f1 is the computer recommended move. Well, then we would just have this right here, capturing, and now the queen is pinned to the king. So this is bad news for white here. So if we go back to the beginning and just take a quick look from the beginning, after rook captures, well, then it looks like the best move would be, according to the computer evaluation, capture, and then another capture here, and then it looks like queen takes a5 is recommended, and then queen takes d4 with check. And let's see here. In this position, we can stop here. Black is ahead with a winning position. The king is in check, so the king would have to move. Let's say, I don't know, maybe here. King to f1 is the top recommended computer move. But then black could continue to trade down pieces here. Check, which forces this. And then now we have queen to d3 or c4 with check. But you get the picture. Black is just trading down material and has 3 extra pawns and should be winning in this position. But black does have to be careful of a mating threat here by this queen jumping down here to d8. But if he watches out for that, he should be fine here. All right. Let's move on to the next puzzle, and hopefully you were able to solve that. All right, puzzle number 4 here. And once again, black's turn to move. So if you want to look at it with white here on this side of the board, just pause the video. If not, I will flip the position. Okay, so black's turn to move. What can black do in this position? What is his best move? If we look at the material, white is ahead by the equivalent of 2 pawns. Let's see here. All right, black to move. What is the best move for black in this position? Okay, pause the video if you need more time. If not, let's take a look. All right. Queen to g5. So hopefully you found this. And the reason this works is because this bishop is pinning the knight to white's king here. So of course the knight cannot capture the queen. And now the king is in check. And if the king moves, well, first of all, the king does not want to move to h3, or it would be an immediate queen to g4 mate. So it looks like the only option is to move down here to h1. But then now we have the best move here. Queen takes on d2, and the knight, the queen cannot be captured once again by the knight because the bishop is pinning this knight to the king. And it looks like rook to e3 is the best move because now the bishop is also attacking this knight, threatening to just capture with check. And after the rook protects the knight, well, then the queen can just continue to pick off a pawn. Once again, the knight cannot capture because the bishop is pinning this knight. So this pin on that knight just caused all kinds of problems for white. Okay, well, hopefully you found that. And from this point here, white is behind in material, so black is far enough ahead that he should have a winning advantage. All right. Now let's take a look at the next problem here. So problem number 5. Let's see here. Okay, so in this chess puzzle, it is white's turn to move. And what should white do here? And if we look at this position, white has to act immediately because there's a threat here of either queen to b2, which this can be a common pattern here, a little checkmating pattern with the pawn pushed up here whenever when you have a fianchettoed position where the b pawn or the g pawn is pushed forward and these dark square weaknesses once again appear around the king. If a bishop or a pawn can take advantage of that and work in conjunction with other pieces. So here we have a pawn and the queen threatening a mate and one on b2 here, or queen to a1 threatening mate as well, backed up by the rook. So white has to watch out and act immediately, or else he could be mated here. So what should white do in this position? All right, pause the video if you need more time. If not, let's take a look at the answer. All right, so white has a mate in 3. Have you found the mate in 3? Okay, and here we have a queen sacrifice. So queen to f6, threatening the king must act immediately. And if the king tries to retreat to either g8 or f8, well then rook captures on h8 is mate immediately. And if the queen is captured by this pawn, well then one of the pawns can just recapture, and then the king must run, and once again rook captures on h8 with mate. All right, well, I hope you found that one. We did 5 problems so far, and that's probably what I'll do in this series, 5 problems and then maybe 1 bonus problem. And so these weren't too difficult, hopefully. So I'll throw in 1 more bonus problem for you here. All right, so this final 6th chess puzzle, let's see here. it will be white to move once again in this position. So what does white do? If we look at the material, it looks like black is ahead by +2. So what can white do to gain the winning advantage here? Take a look at it. And as always, pause the video if you would like more time. If not, let's take a look at the answer here. All right. So the evaluation shows a mate in 3. So have you found the mate in 3 for white here? All right. Well, it looks like rook to f8, check, and then the answer is forced. Queen has to capture. Well, then the other rook swoops in, checking again, forcing the rook to capture. And now we have queen captures on g6 here. And I believe this is called the epaulet mate because of the two rooks that kind of, they look like they're on the shoulders of the king. And the queen jumps in front here, cutting off the f7 and h7 squares and delivering mate here to the king. So an interesting little checkmate. All right, well, I hope you've enjoyed these 6 chess puzzles today and were able to solve those. And just remember regular tactical study and solving of problems. If you do a little bit every day, it should help you improve your chess abilities to see more tactics and more mates and different little patterns. And hopefully it will help you improve your chess. All right, everybody. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and feel free to leave comments or suggestions. Thank you and have a great day.